What an incredible time to be alive. To witness reality itself totally collapse. But don't be afraid, because none of this is real. And in this podcast today, I'm going to be discussing the Mandela effect. And this year, this is something that people have been realizing over many years. We have two new Mandela effects this year, which I'm going to be discussing in this podcast. And when you understand the Mandela effect, then you realize that the reality is not fixed. And it is going to test people to get them to have a fine-tuned intuition. As the reality collapses, people are saying, things aren't making sense. And that's why it's important to have tangible evidence like the Mandela effect that people around the world can discuss. And when you have this realization of one of these Mandela effects, many of them affected me, and I'm going to be discussing a little bit about the Mandela effect. Some of that people have heard already, and then we'll get into the new Mandela effects and how this shows us how we are actually creators of our own reality. When you start to realize, and then you have a piece of evidence that awakens you and you say there's another reality out there, then your life begins to change. And don't be scared, because none of this is real. The energies have been very high, especially as of late, and it has forced people to go inside. And the people that are able to go inside are able to navigate through the upcoming shifts and changes, which are happening exponentially. And it's going to be too much to keep up. We've discussed the quickening. You might be new to this podcast and you could say to yourself, yeah, I feel like time is speeding up. Like the actual perception of time. Let us know in the comments. Do you say, oh yeah, time is speeding up. I can't get the time to slow down. We're almost in August already as I'm leaving this, in 2026. It was like yesterday. We just started off the new year, right? And this time is going to keep trugging forward. So this tool today of the Mandela effect, and it's really going to blow some of your minds if you are new, and the new Mandela effects are going to stir people up. So don't go anywhere for those new Mandela effects that are occurring and happening in our glitched reality. But none of this is real. Don't be scared. Realize that reality is a frequency broadcast. Now, when I come forward, and if you're new to me, I'm Michael. I discuss ascension, psychology, and quantum shifting. If I were to just come out and talk about quantum shifting, the everyday life person might say, oh, this is a bit too much. This seems far out there. However, upon the moment where a person realizes a Mandela effect, it cracks them open, opens that third eye, and then you start having conversations, and then you start to see a whole new reality. Heavenly Sunlight, thank you for the super chat. We are the children of light and power, the true light and the true power, true God. Let's break from the darkness, unite, and create again for humanity. I'm so grateful for that, Heavenly Sunlight, and I appreciate everyone that's coming on. If you hit the like button right now, this is live, and it helps others find this. I like to start off with a story with a buddy of mine in the gym. And some people remember Ed McMahon. Ed McMahon. Do you remember Ed McMahon? He was wearing a Golden Girls shirt. I said, the Golden Girls, we would, talking, joking around. He's has a great sense of humor like I do. I said, did you know it's a Mandela effect? He goes, what are you talking about, Mike? I said, it's a Mandela effect, the Golden Girls, she calls up, Ed McMahon, Publishers Clearinghouse. So I look at him, I said, well, what if I told you Ed McMahon never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse. And he's looking at me. He said, what are you talking about, Mike? I says, you got to look it up. Ed McMahon never worked for, I remember that. I remember the Golden Girls episode. She's on the phone. Ed McMahon from Publishers Clearinghouse. I won. I said, nah. So we had this whole conversation. He starts doing the research. He sees me in the gym now. Mike, Ed McMahon, Mike. This is something. So a lot of people, some people said they should actually call it the Ed McMahon effect. Okay, so the Mandela effect, and maybe you're a person, you're hearing this right now, and you remember Ed McMahon showing up at the door with a big check from Publishers Clearinghouse. Do you remember that? Right? So this is actually probably the number one Mandela effect, and he never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse. And so something in this programming code of this reality, he no longer worked for Publishers Clearinghouse. Okay, the chat's exploding. Do you remember Ed McMahon working for Publishers Clearinghouse? So the Mandela effect, for those that are new, some people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison, and some people always remember the timeline where he was released from prison. And the new Mandela effect is a new part of the story, which a lot of people don't remember this part of the story, and you could find it anywhere on the Google now. All right, so don't go anywhere. That's going to be the new one for later. Like myself, you might have remember Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he would sing the song, "It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood." But now, and you could go to any Mr. Rogers episode, he starts singing, "It's a Beautiful Day in This Neighborhood." And people hear the song, like myself, and it sounds so eerie to them. It's so strange. And the meaning of that song changes with that word, even though it's just one word. Everyone remembered "It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood." There were actual parodies of this. They actually had, was it Eddie Murphy and Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood? Everyone sang "It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood." But now when you go back and you look at those Mr. Rogers episodes and listen to the song has changed. This is a glitch in the Matrix. Darth Vader, Luke, I am your father. And now it's, no, I am your father. And there's an interview, and the actor is actually speaking about this, that he couldn't believe in the playwright, and he says it. But when you watch the movie, it's different. So a lot of things, it also goes to the residue of it, the residue of whatever glitched in the reality. The best way and the best example that I can give when it comes to residue is a delicious peanut butter that I used to enjoy years ago, and other people. And there's actually a group of people which I'm going to get to. We were born at a certain time. So as I'm discussing the quantum shift and consciousness, and I discuss subconscious development, there was a reason why, and there's a group of people in a little window of time that were able to have their consciousness go through these great shifts. But when I was younger, I remember Jiffy Peanut Butter, and I shared this for those that watched the YouTube channel here for a while. I remember seeing Jiffy Peanut Butter in my mother's Lazy Susan. Jiffy Peanut Butter, and Jiffy Peanut Butter never existed. And when you're sealed in the forehead, I remember as a child, right? I was younger, and I remember the age, maybe I was like 9 or 10, and I looked at the label and I saw Jif, and I said to myself as a child, I said, they must have shortened it. They must have changed the label. And I said this, there was no Mandela effect stuff, years ago. So that, and then the residue of it, there's paintings of Jiffy peanut butter. There's advertisements where in the print it says Jiffy peanut butter, but then the picture just says Jif. And sometimes when people go out and look at the glitch in the reality, like the air freshener, don't use the air freshener because it's bad to breathe it in. But Febreze is now Febreze, and you could see like some of these words in the print, like if it was in a circular, right? And you open it up, and what's the ads? And it says Febreze in the type, but the picture of the actual bottle, the word changed. These are examples of residue. So the actual concept of the reality matrix changed. So Jiffy peanut butter changed. You could see it painted on murals. There's a whole bunch of people that show these things where it's not the actual product, but there's a plethora of pieces of evidence of the timeline that Jiffy peanut butter existed. This is actually one of those Mandela effects that deeply affected me when I was younger and I didn't understand what Mandela effects actually were. And the Monopoly Man. So many people remember the Monopoly Man having a monocle. And now the Monopoly Man, there's no evidence of it on the original boards. So one of the residues of that, just like The Golden Girls, was a TV show talking about Ed McMahon. Well, there was a movie. The movie was called Ace Ventura. Pet Detective, yeah. Do you remember Ace Ventura? And in the movie, the guy's holding a monocle, and Ace Ventura goes, "And you must be the Monopoly Man." So why would he say, "You must be the Monopoly Man," if the Monopoly Man never had a monocle? This is residue that a glitch in the matrix, in the system. And throughout this lesson, the people that have been listening to this podcast, you are waking up. You are waking up that we actually do live in a matrix. The reality is not fixed. And then you see these little glitches. And then you see Ace Ventura saying, "You must be the Monopoly Man," the guy's holding the monocle. But then you look everywhere and you cannot find a Monopoly board with Mr. Pennybags, I believe is his name, with the monocle on. And it's not just a one-time mistake. It happens over and over. And there are people, so this is really a biblical time period, and to understand it, if we understand quantum physics and everything is on the inside in the seal in the forehead, many people that resonate with the seal in the forehead, that it's a biblical time period, they see many of the Mandela effects. Some people cannot see the Mandela effects. What does the Mandela effect test in us? Many people in the world operate as non-playable characters, or NPCs. They look for confirmation in the external. They look for external confirmation instead of trusting the inner knowing. Are you a person? If you are unable to trust your inner knowing because people gaslight you, that tell you, "No, Mr. Rogers always saying it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood." When they gaslight you and they say Jiffy peanut butter never existed. When they gaslight you and they tell you Ed McMahon never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse. But you remember these things. This is the test. This is the test to see if you have your internal GPS navigational system. You better tune in now, right? That was me, right? No, you have an internal GPS navigational system. You are sealed in the forehead, and this was always inside. I discussed ascension, and for years I told the community ascension is an inside job. Nothing in the external world. If you are a person, you could click subscribe today, and you truthfully want to manifest. I teach millions of people how to manifest. And in order to manifest, in order to take back control of your reality, you must understand that we tune into a frequency broadcasted reality. And the Mandela effect teaches us this. When people are looking out in the world, nothing makes sense. It looks like it's falling apart. Then it looks like the new earth is coming, and so on and so forth. If you think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, like Tesla stated, as Einstein stated, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a persistent one. This is just an illusion out there, bro. None of this is real. Just chill out. We're just chilling. We're sitting back having our popcorn right now. Absolutely. Oh, are you chilling? You could just chill with me as the world collapses. Yeah, it's just cool, bro. Don't worry about it. Don't get scared. Don't get upset. Just pull up. Grab yourself a cup of coffee. I'm just in my water phase right now. Don't worry about it. So those that are watching consistently, you see that the internal shifts that are happening in the body, there's a correlation to this. Jill Warsaw, 999. Thank you so much for the super chat. Didn't Chris Farley say, Luke, I am your father in Tommy Boy? Thank you, Michael. So I actually didn't watch that movie, but thank you for the community bringing it up. Did Chris Farley say, Luke, I am your father in Tommy Boy? So we're going to bring that to the comment section and on the live stream, on the podcast. And I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. There we go. Too many buttons going on. All right. So there is a deep concept to this. Oathmain Amor, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm so grateful for that. Why am I so exhausted? Thank you so much, Oathmain. I hope I'm saying it right. So our bodies, and if you are new, you could check out the previous videos. When we are quantum shifting, and we're doing this at an accelerated rate, I'm leaving this video today that the reality is rapidly collapsing. And your nervous system, like I go to the gym, I teach people about working out, like, getting muscles and stuff. That's the physical things. But your nervous system going through the changes is absolutely exhausting. The mental and spiritual aspects, or when the subconscious gets reset, there's a tremendous amount of energy. And if you realize the subconscious and the nervous system are the driving forces of the reality, and there's more energy that goes towards the subconscious than the conscious, 95%. So I hope that helps you understand. We're all kind of going through this right now, and we must be reset. Just like how your apps get reset and there's a loading phase. Well, when your nervous system gets reset and your subconscious, and now all of a sudden new people show up in your reality. New stories emerge, like one of the new Mandela effects is a new story. And I like to teach, a lot of stuff that many people don't really realize. A lot of this going into the subconscious, and we download subconscious programs from birth to about 7. There is a very special group of people in this world. They're a special group of millennials. We are called Zennials. And Zennials are people in this world to see this collapse of reality, to see the transitional phase. And if you're a person that was, it is the beginning part of millennials, it's a special 5-year window. And if you were born in the mid-80s, early 80s, and you lived as a child in the 90s, you grew up in the 90s, and you were able to witness the transition of the reality, the transition of technology, and many people that are Zennials And if anyone wants a full video on Zennials, let me know in the comment section. It's a very unique group of people. And we are people that were able to see this transition. And to go through so many shifts throughout the 90s and moving forward, these Mandela effects don't stop. Okay, Luna is a Zennial. I appreciate the Zennials are here. So if you were a person that had a childhood in the 90s, were you a 90s kid? There's a special aspect. As reality is collapsing and we no longer age, age becomes irrelevant, but because of the subconscious programs in human development, there was a reason why these people incarnated on the earth and are sealed in the forehead and could see these Mandela effects. And then there's all different types of Mandela effects. So two new Mandela effects. One is part of the story and one is a person. One of the new Mandela effects is the story of Nelson Mandela. And now Donald Trump charted a 727 for Nelson Mandela to come to the U.S. for about 12 days after being released from prison. A lot of people do not remember Donald Trump chartering a jet to give Nelson Mandela the ride to the United States upon being released from prison. So do you remember Donald Trump charting a 727 after Nelson Mandela was released from prison, or was that part of the original story? And people could look this up, just put it in the Google. So that's one of the new Mandela effects. And the second Mandela effect, which brings us to characters in the Matrix, is a person known as, was he always Joel Osteen, or is he Joel Olstein? O-L-S-T-E-E-N. So some people, we're waking up to the Matrix world that we live in, and there are characters in the Matrix programming. So do you always remember Joel Olstein? Some people remember, where is he, in Texas, that guy? He's like a preacher, person. And now if you look him up, it's Joel Olstein, O-S-T-E-E-N. Or do you remember Joel Olstein, O-L-S-T-E-E-N? What was the spelling of this person's last name? Was it Joel? And some people don't even know who he is. That's okay. But this is one of the documented Mandela effects that people across the world are discussing right now. Okay. Was it Olstein, O-L-S-T-E-E-N? Or was there never an L in his last name, Osteen? I remember Joel Olstein. I would hear people talk about him. All right. So in this Matrix world, some people see famous characters on TV. Their names, the spelling of their names change. And there are Mandela effects that have to deal with characters on TV, right? That you see, famous people, and the spelling of their name change. So the chat is exploding right now. Let us know in the comments, was it Joel Olstein with an L, or did he never have an L? So this is a new Mandela Effect 2026, and these are the two main ones that Donald Trump sent Nelson Mandela a jet, 727, and Joel Olstein never had an L in his last name. So as we continue to see these glitches in reality, and it seems year after year, the people have been researching the Mandela effect for many years. It is relevant at this time as the matrix reality is rapidly collapsing. And instead of being curled up in the fetal position, you realize that, oh, I don't have to be scared. I'm transitioning my consciousness to a different reality. Okay? So, and again, there will continuously be people that will gaslight you. I told you have to be a spiritual warrior. You're going to have to be sealed in the forehead. Okay. And you know, okay, a lot of people are writing, it was Joel Osteen with an L. Okay. And it's nothing about the person. It's just that what is the Matrix programming? People always remember it with an L. Okay, people always remember Looney Tunes, Toons, and now it's Tunes, Tunes, Looney Tunes. Think back, you'll see, if you remember it, tunes like cartoons. So these are the little glitches in reality. And when you have one of these glitches, it's actually empowering. Don't be scared, bro. Don't be scared, bro. It's actually empowering. You say, wow, I could transfer my consciousness to a different reality where it's a brighter reality. It's a beautiful, you could start manifesting because it's always coming from the inside. When you're sealed in the forehead, you're able to see the Mandela effects. While NPCs, they have to think for themselves. This is a test of your intuition. Teach about intuition on the channel. Click subscribe. Do you want to be a spiritual warrior? Click subscribe. Your intuition, you, the person that's getting this message, do you look for the external confirmation from the hive mind, from the herd, because people tell you on TV? Or do you have an internal knowing? Do you have an internal knowing that Mr. Rogers always saying it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, not this neighborhood? Do you have an internal knowing? There was an HBO show years ago. It was called Sex in the City. And now it's called Sex and the City. Which one was it, baby? Okay? And then when you start hearing these, and then you say, oh, here's wrong. And then you go to award shows. You go to award shows, and the winner is, they announce, and the winner is Sex in the City. And how many times can they make the mistake? There's a person that documented this. How many, and they kept and the winner is Sex in the City. And how many times it happened? It was always that. So that's the residue. On the award show, it's a residue to the Matrix reality, but the programming code is now Sex and the City. The Monopoly man doesn't have a monocle anymore, right? And he always had a monocle for those that are sealed in the forehead that remembers that. Stouffer's stovetop stuffing, absolutely. Remember Stouffer's stovetop stuffing? Instead of potatoes, I remember the commercial vividly, sealed in the forehead. I remember Stouffer's stovetop stuffing. Stouffer's stovetop, it's almost like a tongue twister, you remember. Never existed in this reality. Never existed in this reality. So, and again, some of these things, they're very small things like a word or a letter or a concept. But when you know, you know. And it should be empowering to you. And again, it shows what's inside of a person. Years ago when, the Mandela effect was kind of new discussion, and I would see people get so fascinated by it. And then I would also see people that get triggered by it. Triggering is something that we discuss on this channel. If you keep an open mind, when a person gets triggered, it's overwhelming that their reality, the reality that they believed in their whole life. People see things on TV, and this is the way I was taught to believe my whole life. The amount of glitches in reality as they continuously build up. Curious George has a tail or doesn't have a tail. There's anyone that watches Pokemon. I never was into the Pokemon, but I know that Pikachu, Pikachu with the tail. Did he have the line on the Pikachu tail? Okay. So, and again, for me on my journey, I never really watched Pokemon. So it doesn't affect me because I really don't know. But for someone that watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood every single day, I heard that song every single day. Don't you tell me it's this neighborhood. Don't you come up here with this neighborhood. It's the neighborhood. It's the neighborhood. It's not this neighborhood, right? So you understand how this works? If it's something that, and people, so those people have the Pokemon people talk about that. I don't really know about, it could have been either way. I don't know. When you share about Mandela effects, you gotta be authentic about it, right? It was always the neighborhood. I remember Jiffy peanut butter when I was a boy. Remember Jiffy. So if it affects you, it's showing you that the reality is glitching. Heavenly Sunlight, thank you so much for the super chat. Seems like everyone on the call are remembering the same words and descriptions. Absolutely. Let us know down below if you remember all these Mandela effects that we are bringing up. Awakened Wanderer, we're wandering right now. Thank you so much for the super chat. Remember, we are the creator, not the created. Beautiful Awakened Wanderer. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Are you the creator of your reality? And that's really what I do here on this channel. And this is a great episode, and we could talk about the Mandela effect. But what the Mandela effect allows us to do is actually gives you permission. Because you're scared. You say, I can't create the reality. I have to follow whatever the narrative is on the TV. I saw it on TV. So that's why you have to be a deep thinker, because we are witnessing the reality collapse. And as the reality collapses, when you're sealed in the forehead and you have to go inside. You have to go inside. If you don't listen to yourself, some people, they always give the power away. This great spiritual awakening that everyone's going through right now, it was a test to see if are you going to trust yourself? Some people can't trust themselves. That's why you have to be a warrior. You have to be a light warrior at this time. Because none of this is easy. I share about everyday life examples here. I have buddies, they were fascinated by the Mandela effect. And I also have buddies that got triggered pretty bad and got kind of angry over the Mandela effect. Ascension is an inside job. I know it's overwhelming. But the main idea of the lesson is to empower you, is to make you realize that you can shift you could have a totally different timeline. And what I teach on this channel is the inner work that you have to reset frequency, reset algorithm. Everyone's writing reset algorithm. Let's reset algorithm. And when that shift happens, any one of these things, not every Mandela effect that exists will affect you if you didn't watch it or know about it or hear about it. But if you have one and you are sure that whatever it was a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Ed McMahon, I saw him on the commercials. I saw Ed McMahon. So people, this is like the number one Mandela effect, right? They said they should call it the Ed McMahon effect. I saw Ed McMahon go to the door with the check. I saw Ed McMahon working for Publishers Clearing. I know it. I'm not going to be gaslit. And you can't find it anywhere. So it does things to the brain. It is tough. It's a tough thing. But you have to be a tough light warrior at this time. But then when you're not getting scared about this, you're not getting scared that, oh my God, the reality's collapsing. It's all right. Shh. It's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it. They Live. You got to put the sunglasses on. Did you ever watch They Live? John Carpenter's They Live. You got to put the sunglasses on. Those special glasses, you saw through the illusion. That's representing the third eye. There's a lot of stories here to guide you throughout the matrix. I'm here to tell you, and again, we all go through these phases. You can't be scared of it. It's part of the game. We're in the game of life. And here on Our Everyday Lives, we're going to play this game, and we're going to be the best of the best in playing this game. Yeah. It's just a game. And it's all fake. None of this is real. And sometimes when you hear none of this is real, you get sad, you get upset. But they say, none of this is real. Don't you love to play a video? I love to play a video game. It's not real. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to go out. I'm going to try. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to go experience love. I'm going to go out in nature. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to live this life that someone else dictated for me. No, I want to play the game of life. Some people don't know how to play the game of life. I am the game now. You shift. You shift your programming code. You turn off NPC mode and you turn on creator mode. It's a deep change. And none of it is easy, but when you realize that, heck, this is a totally different experience, and it's really going to be fascinating. I'm sure a lot of people, maybe you tuned in today and you're familiar with the Mandela effect, or maybe you watch me on a regular basis. This is an absolute wonderful piece of evidence to teach the world that we live in a quantum reality. None of this is real. Breathe, then move. Thank you so much for the super chat. I love you. Thank you so much. I love you. So yeah, reality is not fixed, and it is a wonderful experience to break free of the matrix. So I appreciate everyone. Comment down below. Any one of them, Ed McMahon, Mr. Rogers, Darth Vader, right? Monopoly Man, Mr. Pennybags, Jiffy Peanut Butter. The new ones, do you remember the charted flight for Nelson Mandela? Do you remember Joel Osteen or Joe Osteen? Which one was he? Okay, and I'm so grateful. This is a beautiful topic. If it resonates, I'm so grateful if you smash into that like button. It helps others find this, and you could click subscribe. We have daily videos to help you become the greatest version of yourself. And the Mandela effect is going to show us that we can create our own reality, that the reality is not fixed. None of this is real. So don't be scared, kid. Don't be scared. Become empowered. Take back your power today. So yeah, leave those comments down below if you remember any of those things, and check out the related videos that pop up on the screen at the pinned comment. We'll be back on tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern time, and let's become the greatest version of ourselves. Let's control our reality, not just walk around like a non-playable character. I appreciate all of you. This was a good one today. I had a lot of fun. And let me know if you want more Mandela effect videos, okay? I love the Mandela effect. All right, guys. Bye for now.